Hey guys, Jeremy here. What is up? Back in December of 2021, I purchased a house in Hawaii that I was gonna flip, and I post several videos about the updates on that project. Well, it's been a while since I posted an update, and I'm here to tell you that it finally sold. It took forever, and I made absolutely no money. My hard money lenders made money, my private money lenders made money, but me, absolutely nothing. This was a crazy roller coaster ride of a story, but we finally got it done. And I'm going to tell you the story of exactly what went down and exactly what went wrong. It was honestly a crazy experience, and if you stick around to watch the entire video, I'm gonna tell you 5 lessons that I've learned that I wanna highlight, and hopefully you watching this, will learn from it and won't make the same mistakes as I did. So again, if we backtrack, I bought this home in December of 2021, and I finally sold it in February 27, 2023. Oh my God, that took forever. As of today, I'm filming, it is April of 2023, and to be honest, I kind of debated about making a video about this project. To be 100% transparent, I fumbled the bag. I totally screwed up on this project. I failed to execute correctly, and I basically felt super embarrassed to talk about this project. But after taking some time to think about it and reflect with myself, I think it's important for anyone to be able to talk about their failures. I think if you're able to embrace and talk about your failures, you, one, get to be at peace with yourself and your mistakes, and you can move on. And 2, you can learn from them so that you don't make the same mistake and you can be better in the future. And even more so, for me to share my failures with you and to share my lessons with everyone watching, so again, that you can learn from this and hopefully inspires you to invest in real estate, flip houses, learn from my mistakes, and even just go after the crazy dreams that you may have. So anyway, back to the project. I bought this in December of 2021. I bought it for $1.3 million, and at the time, my renovation budget was $300,000, and I was expecting to sell it for $2.2 million. And from the start, construction already had some bumps in the road. If everything went according to plan, this would have been like a $500,000 profit margin. Crazy. That's $500,000 in profit. And I was stoked. And for context, this was my 3rd flip. So I thought I was so cool for being able to pull this off. The first week I bought it, I found out that there were tons of things that I overlooked during the due diligence process. There was a bunch of damaged walls, damaged roofs. There was a big storm the weekend I bought it, so right away there's leaks coming down from the roof. And essentially this basically came out to about $100,000 extra in addition to the renovation budget. So that right there was my first mistake, and also my first lesson for you is to, number 1, team up. I had way too much of an ego, and I wanted to do this alone. I wanted to be able to say that I took down this massive project and was super successful all by myself, especially since how this was only my 3rd project. So if I could go back, I would have taken this deal to an experienced investor, or maybe some of my friends who are great with looking into the fine details. If I did this, they would have been able to see my blind spots, see the things that I didn't see, see things that I overlooked, everything. Because of that, I've learned so much about myself, and that is that I overlook the small details. I am more so of a big picture type of person. So now, after this, I will never be doing any projects alone. I'm always gonna team up with someone or other people who are smarter than me or on my level, most importantly, who they have strengths where my weaknesses are. So if you're watching this and you want to team up with me on a project, feel free to comment below. And if you haven't yet, please subscribe to my channel. So anyway, after that initial hiccup in the beginning, everything pretty much went according to plan. I ended up finishing the renovation in May of 2022. And it was awesome. I had a meetup there, tons of people came. It was so fun. Now, this is where things kind of get crazy, and I begin my downward spiral. I thought it would be a great idea to keep the property. I bought it really low. There was a ton of equity, and it was on the water in Hawaii. I was trying to think long-term and keep this property to build wealth over time and basically have a dope-ass property on the water. My plan at the time was to rent it out to tenants, and once they're in, I could do a cash-out refinance on the property, because if you didn't know, I was using hard money lending. And that means I had a high interest rate, which was, I think, 9% at the time. And this term only lasted a year. So I needed to refinance to get a lower rate. But I was told that in order to do the refinance, I needed it to be rented for at least 2 months. So luckily, I asked my buddy and his friends, and they were interested in renting it. So I moved them in. So then 2 months later, when I attempted to refi, the rates went up. And that's when I'm completely screwed. Turns out I wasn't able to qualify for the refinance. DSCR refis wouldn't qualify either, and that's when I figured, you know what, screw this plan, I just need to sell it. So at this time, it's about July of 2022, and now I went to go and get an appraisal done just to see what is the expected value of this home. And guess what? It came out to be $2.66 million. Holy shit. When I saw that, I was so shocked. Like, there were dollar signs in my eyes, and I was super stoked, and I was like, yeah, let's put this on the market and make so much money. I think if I sold it at like 2.66, that would have been like $700 in profit. But again, I made another mistake. Despite interest rates already rising, I should have kept that in mind, but I thought I could still sell for top dollar, so I listed it at 2.69 million, thinking that it was still 2021 and that I'm gonna get a bunch of offers. I didn't. After 2 weeks go by of this home on the market, I get no offers, so I lower it and lower it and lower it, and it's just sitting. Lots of showings, but no offers, and I'm thinking, okay, the times have changed. And while this is all going on, I still have tenants in there, and I feel so terrible having to bug them every time, someone wants to see the house. But eventually, they ended up finding a new place, and that worked out because I was able to take it off the market, get it clean, get it professionally staged, take new professional pictures, and put it back on the market at a lower price. And that is where my next lesson is that I want to share with you. Number 2 is don't be greedy. I know it's so easy to say don't be greedy, and I thought I wasn't too much of a greedy person, but when you see big numbers like that, especially for the first time in your life, it kind of gets crazy. And I'll admit, I kind of got greedy and I wanted to see those big numbers in real life. If I could go back, I would have not tried to sell it or list it so high. I would have just listed at 2.2 million right away. That was my original ARV, and I would have probably sold it way quicker and probably made way more money than I actually did. Best case scenario, if I did that, I get a bidding war. And then the worst case scenario, the same thing happens, it just sits, but it probably doesn't sit as long as it did. So anyway, I then relist it at 2.49 million, new pictures, new staging, it's vacant, so anyone can go in anytime. I'm like, all right, here we go. We're gonna sell it 2.49. Awesome. Not awesome. It didn't sell. Again, lots of showings, no offers, and now it's already late September. But finally I get an offer, but it was low at the time, $2 million. We end up going back and forth and we settle on $2.2 million cash. Awesome. This is the original ARV. I'm stoked. I'll still be able to sell this and still make some good amount of profit. Cool, right? And no. Everything went according to plan during escrow until the very end. Long story short, there was some drama. I don't want to get into it, but the buyers ended up canceling at the very last second, and then I am screwed. Now it's all the way to November of 2022, and the real estate market is probably around its slowest point where there's tons of fear and uncertainty in the market. And that brings us to our third lesson that I would like to share with you, and that is that when it comes to flipping, it's all about speed. When flipping houses, there's a lot of risk. You have the real estate market, which I've been told could flip overnight, which I didn't really understand until 2022 when they raised the interest rates. And then you also got hard money, which works against you because since it has high interest rates, the longer you hold it, the more costs you incur. When flipping houses, you want to get in and get out ASAP. I should have just listed it again at a way lower price. It would have sold faster, but instead I got greedy. I tried to list it at top dollar, wasted a bunch of time, and on top of that, I had a buyer cancel, which was out of my control, but it still wasted more time. Everything that could have went wrong went wrong. At this point, time was working against me. So again, we put it back on the market after the cancellation, same thing, tons of showings, no offers. But one thing I noticed when I was doing all the showings was that I was getting a lot of comments about the finishes in the home. You know, it just seemed like people were not impressed with the designs. And this is where my fourth lesson comes in. Number 4 is use luxury materials and designs. So when it comes to flipping luxury or anything like the $1 million, above $2 million especially, you want to have high quality luxury materials and designs. My first 2 flips were kind of low dollar compared to the $1.3, $2 million range. So on those ones, I just used basic finishes. You know, they were nice, but they were still basic designs and materials, and they sold fine. You know, they sold great, but I think it was because of the great market in 2021 that I thought, okay, if I just do this, the same thing on my luxury flip, I'll be fine. And I was wrong. When you are selling a house and flipping a house for $2 million, you have to step up everything. You know, you have to use luxury materials, have luxury designs. You must have a wow factor when it comes to this price range. You cannot be a basic. And this lesson kind of ties into my previous lesson about teaming up. You know, if I teamed up with experienced people who've done luxury flips, they would have not overlooked this fact, and they would have told me, hey, Jeremy, this is a $2 million house. We need to use high-end luxury material because this is what's gonna sell. You know, it's emotion, it's the wow, you must do this. So if you want to flip luxury houses, you need to look into the fine details. You need to have great luxury designs and materials. And you know, that's something I'll definitely keep in mind when the next time I flip a luxury house. So anyway, December comes and this is where I'm feeling scared and hopeless. There are thoughts of me potentially going bankrupt, having to sell my condo, move in with my mom, the whole shebang. Those thoughts are going through my mind at this time in December. You see, when you use hard money lending, the term length is usually 1 year. So that means you buy the house, you have 1 year to fix, flip, and sell within that 1 year. Now, when that 1 year comes, that loan is due, the entire thing. Now, for me, the 1 year was in December. So I was kind of shitting bricks and I was thinking, oh shoot, do I have to pay out this whole entire loan? Luckily, there was an extension option, so I was able to extend another 3 months, but that cost 1% of the loan, which was $14,000. And on top of that, each month that goes by, I need to pay a $10,000 payment. So I paid that $14,000. January comes around and still I don't have anything and I have to pay that extra $10,000. And now I'm just thinking like, okay, I am running out of time. I'm running out of money. You know, my extension expires in March. I need to sell this now. So I dropped the price all the way to 2.2 million. Luckily, when January came, I think there was a slight dip in the interest rate and there was a lot of activity. I got like 2 offers. One of them came in and we settled for $2,025,000. I was so crushed. I was so sad. I was so mad. But I knew that it was either this or I'm screwed. And I was doing my rough calculations at $2,025,000. I thought I was gonna be a little negative, but I thought it was manageable. And I knew that this was the best I was going to get. So I had to take it, and I did. And thank God I chose that. We eventually closed, and in the end, luckily I came out just breaking even, you know, and I didn't lose any money, which honestly to me was a blessing. It was a win, and I'll take that win. And now that it's all done, and just looking back, I think it's just so crazy and how cocky I was and how so sure that this was going to be a home run project and that I was going to make $500,000 like easily. And that brings us to our last and 5th lesson I have for you guys. Nothing is guaranteed. In this business, especially, nothing is guaranteed. And I say this because when I took on this project, I was so sure that everything was gonna go according to plan, that when I was done with this project, we're still gonna be in a bidding war, that the market's still on fire, and I was gonna make at least $500,000. That was the thoughts going in my mind. I was gonna make this easy $500,000. Like, what the hell? I remember back in 2020 when the feds first lowered the interest rates, they said they were not going to raise it until March of 2023. So I thought, okay, I have plenty of time to get this deal done. I mean, if the Fed says they're gonna keep their word and they're gonna keep interest rates low until 2023, then they must be right? You know, they must keep their word. Wrong. I was so wrong. They definitely didn't know what they were doing, and because of that, they raised interest rates a whole year earlier than expected. Rates went up, demand went down, bidding wars non-existent. I was sitting on the market and just sold, barely breaking even. Crazy shit, man. Looking back, I still think it was a crazy experience. I'm thankful for this experience, believe it or not. I've learned so much. This changed me as a person, changed me in terms of how I view investing, how I view risk, how I view myself. I'm thankful for this because this got rid of all of my ego, all of my greed, and I'm just so glad that I didn't lose money on this and that I'm still here. You know, I have a new appreciation of the things that I took for granted. You know, I appreciate my life, my health, my family, and I realize that investing is a marathon and not a sprint, and it is definitely a team sport that you do not want to do alone. Like I said earlier in this video, I'm never going to do anything alone. I'm always going to team up with people who are at my level or smarter than me, or possess skills and strengths where I lack. And yeah, there you have it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned everything from this Hawaii Kai house, this whole process, my third flip, and it was a wild ride. So I hope you learned from it. And if you haven't yet, please like and subscribe to my channel. I'll be posting more videos like this about real estate, investing, flipping, everything. So thank you guys again for watching. See you next time.